What's up, everybody? Welcome to CFP Talks. My name is Joe Nissim. I'm here
What
always
up?
with Mr. David Fuchs. What's
What
up,
up, Joe?
David?
I'm good. I'm
You,
doing well.
I'm going to go full YouTube right now. I'm going to say, hey, everybody, please like and subscribe our channel so we can keep getting this valuable content. Is that what people say on YouTube channels?
For free.
For free. Oh, yeah, for free. Yes, for free.
There's no harm in clicking like or clicking whatever,
Yeah.
subscribe.
Yeah, please
So,
subscribe to our channel, so we could get out to more CFPs and potential CFPs who need this help. We would appreciate it. David, I'm like really excited today because this is one of my, as you know, it's one of my favorite episodes to tape. And the reason that I like talking about this so much is because I feel like this is getting more and more relevant, right? And here's what you hear from a lot of people. And I used to hear this a lot in my one-on-ones, especially when somebody failed the exam. Somebody would come back to me and say, well, Joe, we did 10 sessions, 15, 20 sessions. I paid you this much and I didn't pass. And my response would always be the same. It's like, what you paid you there's no correlation with your pass and what you paid me because it's there's literally zero correlation to that. What you do has the correlation. And I think a lot of people are under the impression that if I go out there and I buy the best tools and I hire the best tutors and I get the best class and I spend all this money and I buy and I put 10, I'm going to invest $10,000 into my CFP. And I've had students who've done this for years where they're like, I would go on and I'd find the most expensive person and that would be the person that I hire. And I was like, okay, that's a method to do it. There's other ways of trying to find somebody. How do you kind of talk to somebody about this that's like trying clearly to buy their pass on the CFP?
mhm. um, I mean, I've had only I've had a few conversations with people that asked me kind of if I mean, the one specifically, Joe, where the kid was like, if I could just pay 10 grand, I would just to pass this. And that's when like this whole concept kind of like resonated with me.
Yeah.
But what I mean, listen, what I say is like especially when I talk to people that are thinking about working with you, I tell them, listen, like I obviously speak extremely highly of you. Only, I genuinely think you have one of, if not the best program out there. But at the same time, I have to caveat that with, but you're not just going to sign up for his course and then automatically pass. He's going to give you, and this is true for not just Joe, this is true for anyone that you go to. You can pay the fee, they'll give you the books, they'll give you the exams, they'll give you the review sessions, or Joe's a little more customized than that. But they'll give you the tools, but ultimately you have to put in the work to actually pass the exam. This is not one of these things. It's not like an SAT. It's not like an SAT.
Well, not
Uh,
well, I wouldn't say SAT. I'd be like more like an MBA.
well, yeah, I was thinking of Lori, whatever. The Like I was thinking of
Oh,
the pay
oh,
for, yeah, like
the Full
that whole
House
thing.
lady.
Yeah, yeah, I was
Yeah,
thinking of
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But with
You can't.
that,
This is not USC. You can't buy the admissions office.
no, but with that, actually, your your analogy was better with the MBA, M as in Mary, VA, because yes, it's not that was a better analogy for this, because that's a situation where it's like you go to they accept you into the school and you pay them probably upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars. They're not gonna fail you. They're gonna, unless you're a complete jerk, but you're gonna get that degree. You're paying for that degree. You just have to wait 2 years to get it.
Correct.
With the CFP, there's really no method. There's no way for you to just pay and pass the exam.
Mm.
And obviously that, you can sign up for courses, you could do everything, but there's nothing you could do where you're going to pay. At the end of the day, the onus is on you to pass this exam.
Yeah. I was I always love this idea because the people who end up doing this the most are people who are typically the most overwhelmed and don't have enough time in their schedule to do it. And you're trying to find the best program because you're like, it's the one that's going to cut down my time the most. And that's true. That's not the wrong thought, but the execution is often flawed, where it's like, okay, if my time in for CFP on my own would me be banging my head against the wall, and somebody's shortening this timeline for me by 20% or 30% or 35%, you got the best end of this deal. Like if somebody's chopping down, like if instead of, if somebody said to me, Joe, I can get you the same set of like we could get your biceps bigger by doing these, working for 8 weeks instead of 12, and you're chopping down, and I'm getting the same results in 8 weeks that I would normally get 12 doing my old crappy programming or my old exercise. I'm going, yeah, show me where to sign up. Like this is great. The emphasis, however, is on me still showing up and doing it because guess what? There's a little bit more intensity to that. The people who end up getting the most out of their CFP programs are the one that work the hardest. Because if you're coming in and you work, then I can give you more. I can
Hmm.
push you more. I can the people who walk out of my program who are singing my praises are going, Joe is the best. He's the best that I've ever had. They're not even considering the price that they paid because I've worked you harder than you've ever worked, and pushing you to that level is just something you can't do on your own. My favorite coaches, I don't, or people that I've hired or trainers, whatever, are not the people that came up with the fanciest programming or made me do the craziest exercises. That's not what I care about. What I cared about is that they made me work harder and they hit on my weaknesses, which, let's face it, it's hard to work on your weaknesses by yourself. It's intimidating. It sucks. It makes you feel stupid. And you can't buy your way out of that. And
Hmm.
somebody constantly holding your feet to the fire and making sure that you're staying on track takes you away from going down those rabbit holes that distract you for 5 hours or 10 hours.
Hmm. Yeah.
And if we can do that as a program, we've succeeded tenfold.
Yeah.
We
If you,
can't do is do the work for you.
yeah, no, I always say if you just follow and you trust the process of, listen, like obviously I speak more personally when it comes to your program, but I think with most programs out there, it would be the same thing. If you follow the process, because obviously these things have been around for a long time, they've all had a lot of success stories and are
Sure.
great. But if you follow the process that's set in place and go a little above and beyond, like you can't just do, word for word exactly what, I think they'll give you a blueprint. You got to do like 110% of the blueprint to pass. But if you put that in, then you're putting yourself in a position to pass most of the time. If you're just saying, I signed up for this so and so review class and I'm just going to go through the motions, you're unfortunately not going to be successful.
And I've done that in the past where I've
Yeah.
signed up for classes and I thought by my sheer presence of being there, like
Yep.
and I kind of came in with this arrogance of, I signed up and I did this in my last nutrition programming that I hired somebody for, and I saw very bumpy results.
Hmm.
When I look back at it, I go, you know what? I was arrogant. I thought by the sheer fact of hiring somebody and them giving me something that I would do it. And I wasn't communicating. I wasn't doing the things that I need to do. Now, The second time around of doing it for me, and I'm like, I was kind of being in a hole. Like, I shouldn't have done it then. I had too much going on. I didn't have enough space in my life to do it. And so, of course, the results were bumpy. Now I'm following it. Me and this coach, we talk almost every day, probably every other day, even if it's something as simple as here's my weight, or can you look at these meals, or I have this one question, and often our communication is not a ton in any one particular day, but it's been so consistent that he's helped me kind of tweak and not go down a rabbit hole or try something weird that I normally would have done on my own because I don't feel like I'm getting the results that I should be getting. And sometimes he's slow it down, dude. Chill out. It's okay to be frustrated, but let's not respond to that frustration. And that is an incredible value that you get. But it's because I'm in the thick of it that it's hard for me to see it. And that's the true value of that. I still got to work it.
Exactly. And I think that here's actually after listening to both of us talk for the last 10 minutes on this, I think this is what it comes down to. When you buy a course or you enroll in a review class or whatever it is, it feels like most people are then putting the onus on the instructor to instill in them all those lessons that they need to learn to pass, as opposed to saying, I am buying this tool that's going to enhance the chances of me passing if I use it properly and do my part.
That's right.
That's really honestly, we talked 10 minutes about it. That's all it comes down to, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
that's
You
right.
think the you're transferring the responsibility essentially to someone else, and you
That's
can't
right.
do that.
You cannot transfer the responsibility. It is, remember, like when you're coming into my class, I have my CFP. I've gone through this process. I know how to do these problems. There's nothing that I can do, barring sitting next to you in your house at 10 o'clock at night and holding your hand and writing with the pen. I can't do that because then I take everything away from you. And that's the thing you
Mhm.
have to realize is that an instructor, if you're looking for somebody that's going to hold your hand, you take that power away from you, which is ultimately going to end up leading to a fail because you need to be ready on your own, right? Good instructors will kind of sit there and go through questions and all that. And every instructor is going to have to do that at some point in their program, going through questions, breaking them down, showing you how to think about them. But at some point, and I think this is what separates the goods from the greats, is that they push you out of your comfort zone and say, okay, you're on your own. Let's see what you do. And then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about it and see what adjustments we can make. And we push you back out. We bring you back in for a minute and we push you back out. That is the key, is that you have to be ready to stand for it on your own. And if you're not hiring somebody who's going to support you and be in your corner and show you that, but you're saying, I want basically, I want Joe to take the CFP for me. I ain't doing that again. I already done it once. I don't need to do it again.
Yeah.
Right.
Please.
And
Please.
and so if you're thinking, I'm going to put the onus on Dalton or Denko or Zahn
Hmm.
or any of these programs, myself included, we can't take the test for you. So the more you spend with us, we're happy. That's great. But just remember that what you should be paying for is the tools that you think that you need the most.
Yeah. Or the
Or
guiding, or just the
or
guidance.
the guide that you need the most. And if you're
Yeah.
not getting that from your program, then switch your program.
Yeah.
But regardless, don't walk into the next program thinking because I spent more money, then now I have bought my pass.
Yeah.
And that's the attitude that we don't want you going into the exam with because now you're taking the responsibility off yourself and it's
Yeah.
ultimately your responsibility to learn and to do the work and to go through the process that I can't replicate for you. Everybody's got to go through it so you can learn how to stand on your own 2 feet. So when then you're in the test room, you know what to do. And that honestly is the greatest gift that any instructor can give to you is independence. a reliance on
Mhm.
us, it's great, keeps you spending money, but it doesn't actually help you at the end.
Yep.
And that's not what we want, even in our programs. We want you to be ready to stand for the exam on your own.
Yep. Boom.
So, with that in mind, I think that's a good place to stop. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. With any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to reach out to David or myself, and we will see you guys on our next episode. Take care, everybody.